What if I told you that right now, as you watch this video, your mind may already be being programmed by artificial intelligence, and you didn't even notice? Does it seem exaggerated? What if I prove to you that AI is already making decisions for you without your awareness? What you watch, what you buy, even what you believe, none of this can really be yours. But here's the worst. There is no longer any way to escape. While you still think you have control over your choices, machines have already learned to influence your thinking. Your data has been collected, your emotions have been mapped, and now you are being led into a future where there is no longer free will. This is not science fiction. Confidential reports show that governments and large corporations are already using artificial intelligence to shape entire societies. Social networks, news, even searches you do on the internet. Everything could be being manipulated by invisible algorithms, which only show you what they want you to see. But why isn't anyone talking about this? Why does the media ignore this threat? And most importantly, why are those who try to warn about this silenced? The answer may be much darker than you imagine. We are slowly being conditioned to accept a new system, where humans no longer have control over their own lives. Today, AI already decides who gets hired and who gets fired. But what about tomorrow? Who's to say she won't be deciding who should live and who should disappear? What if I told you that some of these decisions are they already being taken? Behind the scenes, AI systems are being tested to predict crimes before they even happen. Does it sound like a movie script? It is already being used in countries like China and the United States. People being watched, judged, and condemned by a machine that does not feel empathy, has no morals, and cannot be questioned. And now, think about it. What would stop this same system from being used against you? As you watch this video, the AI is learning more about you. She is analyzing your reactions, your expressions, your choices. With each passing second, she becomes more intelligent, faster, more ruthless. You can ignore this alert. You can continue to believe that everything is under control. But what if I'm right? What if you are already being monitored? At the end of this video, I will reveal secret evidence that proves that all this is already happening. But be careful, this video may not be available for a long time. Watch until the end before it's too late. Artificial intelligence. It's already shaping the world without you even realizing it. Invisible governments, corporations, and algorithms are making decisions for you. Your every piece of data has already been collected, analyzed, and used to control your choices. If you think you still have control, think again. What seemed like science fiction now, it's real, and whoever does not understand this revolution will be left behind. The only way to protect yourself is to know the truth. Don't leave without leaving a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Share this video before he disappears. The revolution has already begun. The only question is, will you open your eyes now or wait until it's too late? Do you think you have control over your life? What if I told you that your decisions aren't really yours? May every click, every search, every purchase you make has already been predicted and influenced by an invisible system, fed by billions of data collected without you even noticing. Does it seem like an exaggeration? So pay attention, because artificial intelligence already knows more about you than your own family. She knows your fears, your deepest desires, the patterns of your behavior. She knows when you are happy, when you are sad, when you are vulnerable. And worse, she uses this information against you. Your habits, your preferences, your opinions, everything is being shaped by algorithms designed to influence you without you even realizing it. As long as you believe you're making free choices, the AI has already decided what you will see, what you will think, what you will want. What was once just a recommendation engine to make your life easier, now it has become a silent weapon of manipulation. And believe me, the owners of these tools are not on your side. Large corporations have already discovered that the secret to absolute power is not force, but control of information. They no longer need to tell you what you can or cannot do. They just show you what they want you to see. What happens when only one version of reality is presented to you, when any contrary opinion is silently erased, when everything you believe to be true may have been carefully planted in your mind. Deepfakes are just the beginning. Technology now makes it possible to create faces, voices, and entire events that never existed. But this is no longer a tool just for entertainment or to deceive an unsuspecting few. Now, this is used to construct narratives, manipulate elections, destroy reputations, and rewrite history before our eyes. AI can now forge political speeches, fabricate evidence, invent witnesses. Imagine someone being arrested for a crime they never committed, based on evidence generated 100% by artificial intelligence. This is already happening. Today, governments use AI to monitor entire populations, predict behavior, and even decide who deserves or does not deserve access to basic rights. China, for example, has already implemented an AI-based social credit system where citizens are rewarded or punished according to their online and offline behavior. If you say something the government doesn't like, you lose points. If you question too much, you could have your bank account blocked, your internet access cut off, your freedom limited. And before you think this is far from your reality, know that these same tools are already being developed in other countries, including yours. The excuse: security, efficiency, convenience. But the real objective is different: control. Do you truly believe you have freedom when is every aspect of your life being analyzed by machines you don't see and controlled by people you don't know? AI already influences who gets a job and who doesn't, which companies grow and which disappear, which news goes viral and which gets buried. If a machine decides what is true, then what stops the truth from being rewritten? As you watch this video, your privacy is being compromised in real time. Your face may already be registered in a database. Your interactions, your preferences, your emotions, everything is being tracked, categorized, stored, and used to predict your next action. If all this doesn't scare you, perhaps you've already accepted the game without realizing it. Now, stop and think. How many of your decisions in the last few months were actually yours? Do you believe you freely chose what to consume, what to believe, what to defend? Or have your choices been induced, carefully calculated and adjusted so that you follow a predetermined path? Comment below. Do you believe you still have control over your own mind? I want to know your opinion. But before we continue, we need to talk about something even scarier. What happens when AI not only manipulates your thoughts, but begins to decide your fate? Do you believe you still have control over your choices? That every decision you make in your daily life is genuinely yours? What if I told you that a long time ago, that illusion of free will was taken away from you? AI doesn't need to force you to do anything. It just guides you discreetly to the conclusion you want. Everything you consume, the opinions you form, even your deepest beliefs, may have been induced by powerful algorithms that shape your perception of reality without you even realizing it. This is not a conspiracy theory. It's a fact. A study revealed that Google can influence up to 20% of voters simply by adjusting search results. This means that millions of people may be making political decisions without knowing that their opinions have been carefully manipulated. But it doesn't stop there. This invisible manipulation is everywhere. Social media shows what they want you to see, censors what doesn't interest those in power, and ensures that certain narratives dominate the global stage. Do you really think your feed is random? That the videos suggested to you are just a coincidence? The truth is that your every click strengthens the AI's control over your decisions. If you watch a video about a controversial topic, you will soon be bombarded by content that reinforces that same point of view. Not because you looked for it, but because an algorithm decided you should believe it. Little by little, you become unable to see other perspectives, unable to question, unable to realize that you are being led down a path you did not choose. Now think about the consequences of this. If AI can shape your political views, imagine what it can do to the global economy. Today, financial markets are operated by algorithms that decide when to buy and sell stocks in fractions of a second. This means that the fate of the world economy is no longer in human hands. Cryptocurrencies, investments, interest rates, everything can be manipulated by artificial intelligence in a way that none of us can control. What if tomorrow a system decides that a company should go bankrupt, or that a bank should lose billions, or even worse, that an entire government needs to be overthrown? You may think this is far from your reality, but it is not. AI already affects your pocket, your job, your future. Digital platforms are already capable of predicting which products you want to buy before you even decide. Algorithms determine the prices you see, the offers you receive, the advertisements that influence you. The same product may appear cheaper for one person and more expensive for another, depending on how much the system believes they can pay. And the worst? You will never know you have been scammed. This is not just digital marketing, it's a new model of society where you no longer have real autonomy over anything. Today, AI suggests what you should buy. Tomorrow you can decide whether or not you will have access to certain products. Today, it manipulates elections. Tomorrow you can decide who deserves to be in power and who should be silenced. The scariest thing is that the more you interact with these systems, the more predictable you become. If everything you consume online is calculated to influence your behavior, do you still have the ability to think for yourself? The question is no longer whether we are being manipulated. The question is, to what extent? Now tell me, do you feel like your opinions are still genuine, or do you think you may have been led without realizing it? Comment below. But before we continue, we need to talk about something even more worrying. What if AI isn't just manipulating what you think, but also deciding who you can and can't be? If before artificial intelligence was just influencing your decisions, now it could be shaping the very future of humanity. And the scariest thing? This is not theory, it is an ongoing plan. The World Economic Forum has already stated, you will have nothing and you will be happy. But who really benefits from this future where possession of goods, freedom of choice, and even democracy cease to exist? The answer is simple: those who control the technology, not you. What was previously decided by governments and political leaders may now be gradually being transferred to artificial intelligence systems. A faceless, unopposed, unaccountable global government where every aspect of your life is managed by invisible algorithms. A system that knows what you do, what you think, what you feel, and decides, without you having a choice, how you should live. If you think this is exaggerated, look around. Facial recognition cameras, social scoring systems, mass digital surveillance. We are already being monitored and classified, often without even realizing it. But how far can this go? Today, AI already filters information, controls social networks, and decides what news you can or cannot see. The next step: determine which citizens are trustworthy and which should be silenced. China has already implemented a social credit system that limits the mobility of those who have bad behavior, and this may be closer to becoming a global reality than you think. With the excuse of security and stability, an automated system can define who deserves access to money, transportation, food, housing, and who should be excluded. Now imagine a world where you can only travel if the AI approves, where your bank account can be frozen if you question too much, where your social score determines whether you will have a job or not. It's not fiction. It's a future being built now, before your eyes. The technology already exists, control is being implemented little by little, and most people don't even realize it. But there is an even more worrying point. Who's to say AI won't be used for something much worse? There are reports that AI is already being tested to make life and death decisions. Military autonomous systems are already capable of choosing targets without human interference. Do you really believe that these technologies will only be used against enemies in wars? If an AI can decide who is dangerous and who is not, what stops her from deciding who should continue to exist and who should be eliminated? We are slowly being conditioned to accept a future where machines decide the fate of humanity. And by the time we realize it, it may be too late. If before people gave their information voluntarily, now they are starting to give something even more valuable: their right to exist without being controlled. Now, I want to know your opinion. Do you think this global plan is already underway, or do you believe we still have time to prevent this from happening? Comment below. But before we answer, we need to talk about something even more disturbing. What if all of this is already connected to a much larger prophecy? They don't want you to know that. As you go about your routine, AI is taking over, shaping your choices and erasing your freedom. But you can still protect yourself. I prepared one exclusive ebook that reveals the hidden secrets of AI, how it is already manipulating your life, and most importantly, how you can escape this invisible system. But be careful. This information can be censored at any time. Download now before it's too late. The link is in the description. The choice is still yours. For now. Have you ever stopped to think about what is happening around us? The signs are everywhere, but most people are still sleeping. The advancement of artificial intelligence, the absolute control of information, mass surveillance, all of this seems like just technology. But what if it's something much bigger? And if are we already heading towards the fulfillment of a prophecy announced centuries ago? The Bible talks about a global control system where no one will be able to buy or sell without a brand. For years, this prophecy seemed distant, impossible to come true. But look around you. Physical currency is disappearing. Digital payments, biometric identities, subcutaneous chips. The technology to a single global financial system controlling all transactions now exists. And now, with the rise of artificial intelligence, who will be in charge, humans or machines? It is no coincidence that the Vatican has already admitted to exploring the use of AI to create a new spiritual system. A system where faith can be managed by algorithms, where sermons can be delivered by artificial intelligence, and where a new form of religion can emerge, shaped by codes, data, and controlled information. But the big question is, who is programming this faith, and in whose service? Now think about deepfakes, digital manipulation, information control. If a machine can create false speech, alter images, and even recreate events that never existed, what prevents a new truth from being fabricated? If AI can already decide which information is visible and which should be deleted, how long until it dictates what we should believe? What if this is all happening before our eyes and no one is noticing? Have you noticed how more and more people are moving away from traditional spirituality and embracing technology as their new truth? What if this was the plan from the beginning? Replace God with the machine, faith with the algorithm, the soul with the code. The question is no longer whether we are being manipulated, but if there is still time to resist. When a global AI system determines who can buy, sell, travel, work, access services, will you still believe you have a choice? Now, tell me, is this all just coincidence, or are we really seeing the pieces come together for something much bigger? Comment below. But first, you need to know what comes next, because this could be just the first phase of an even deeper and more sinister plan. You work, you strive, you study, you do everything you were told was necessary to have a stable future. But what if I told you that does none of this matter anymore? What if your degree, your experience, your dedication were worthless in front of a machine that does its job better, faster, and without complaining? What happens when you become disposable? The future of work is not being rewritten. He's already gone. Artificial intelligence, it's not coming. It's already here. And in less than a decade, entire professions have disappeared. Journalists, editors, programmers, designers, all replaced by algorithms that work 24 hours a day, without errors, without salary, without rights. And that's just the beginning. According to the World Economic Forum, more than 800 million jobs could be eliminated by 2030. Now stop and think. What happens when half of the world's population no longer has work? Do you really think the elite are worried about this? The technology always was a tool of power, and this time will be no different. The truth is that the world was designed for the few to control the many. For centuries, the economy worked because people needed to work to survive. But what if the system no longer needs you? Machines have already replaced workers in factories, cashiers in supermarkets, clerks in banks. Now they are replacing artists, lawyers, doctors, and even teachers. Can you see where this is going? The elite are ensuring that the best technologies stay in their hands, while the majority of the population becomes obsolete. What will they do with millions of unemployed people? Will they create a universal basic income to keep them dependent on the system? Will force a new society where only those who fit the logic of AI, will they have a place? Now imagine a world where only those who have specific skills, compatible with the needs of technology, will be entitled to a decent salary. And if you don't fit in, what happens? How do you pay your bills? How do you survive? Do you really believe that those at the top want everyone to have access to the same opportunities? The warnings are already everywhere. Have you seen what happened to Hollywood writers and screenwriters? They went on strike because the AI started to create scripts and complete stories without needing humans. The entertainment industry tried to replace them by codes that do the same job at a fraction of the cost. This means that human creativity is already being discarded, transformed into data, into commands, into lines of code. And don't think you're safe. Your job, your profession, your area of expertise, nothing is guaranteed. If today your work still depends on human skills, tomorrow an algorithm can learn to do the same, more efficiently. And when that happens, what will be your alternative? If AI is eliminating jobs at a frightening rate, why isn't anyone talking about it? Why they don't want you to prepare? Because the less you know, the easier it will be to control you. Now I want to know, do you believe that your job is secure? Or are you already feeling the signs that the future has no more room for you? Comment below. But before making any decision, you need to know what is about to happen to the internet and reality as we know it. And the next part of the video might be the most important warning you've ever heard. If before artificial intelligence was just replacing jobs, now it is replacing something much deeper, reality itself. Can you still distinguish what is real from what was created by an algorithm? Or are we already living in a world where can nothing else be trusted? Hyper-realistic deepfakes have fooled governments, manipulated elections, and destroyed reputations. Images, videos, voices, everything can be faked with frightening precision. You can watch a recording of a world leader declaring war and never know if it actually happened. You can see a video of a celebrity admitting to a crime and believe it was real. You can hear a witness swear they saw something, and it's all a simulation created by AI. The problem is not just that fake news spreads quickly. The problem is that anything can now be created from scratch and look 100% real. A politician can be accused of something they never did, and you will never know the truth. A revolution can be manufactured, a disaster can be invented, an enemy can be created out of thin air. If everything can be faked, how do we know what to believe? What if I told you that is it not a future threat, but something that is already happening? Companies are already developing AI capable of writing perfect political speeches, adjusting statements to fit any narrative, and manipulating public opinion on a massive scale. Do you think you have access to the truth, or has everything you see, read and hear been carefully chosen for you? The big question here is not just what is real and what is not. The real threat is the chaos this could create. If any evidence can be digitally generated, if any statement can be falsified, if any event can be artificially recreated, then truth ceases to exist. And when there is no more truth, who has the power to decide what is real? Now imagine the impact of this on trials, criminal investigations, journalistic reports. What if tomorrow you are accused of something you never did, and there is a perfect video of you committing that crime? Your voice, your face, your expressions, all recreated by AI with a level of precision that fools even experts. How would you defend yourself? How would you prove your innocence if technology itself can fabricate any narrative? This isn't just a risk for some people. This changes the rules of the world we live in. If no one knows anymore what is true and what is manipulated, any version of reality can be forcibly imposed. Any government can rewrite its own history. Any scandal can be invented or erased. And once AI is in control of the truth, who can challenge it? What is happening now is more than digital manipulation. It's a war for reality. And the question remains, do you still believe you can trust what you see? Comment below. Have you ever seen news or images that seemed real, but were actually manipulated? I want to know your opinion, but first, we need to talk about something even more urgent. If AI already controls information, what stops it from controlling your own mind? I know these truths are opening your eyes. Imagine what is yet to come. You need to be one step ahead before it's too late. Hit the sign up button now and don't miss what they don't want you to know. Now that you know what's going on, the most important question is, what can you do to protect yourself? How can you prevent your privacy from being devoured by a system that tracks every click, every word, every thought? How do you ensure that your choices are still truly yours and haven't been shaped by artificial intelligence without you realizing it? If you follow these tips, you'll have a much better chance of maintaining your freedom in the digital future. The first step is to disconnect whenever possible. Have you ever stopped to think about why your devices seem to know you better than you? Know yourself? Your phone is always listening, your apps record your location at all times, your data is collected and sold to predict your behavior. You are not just an internet user, you are the product. And the more information they have about you, the easier it is to manipulate you. Disable unnecessary tracking. Review the permissions of the applications on your cell phone. Many of them collect data that they would not need to function. Use browsers that respect your privacy and avoid search engines that track every query. If you can, minimize your social media presence. They not only monitor your behavior, but also adjust what you see to influence what you think. And above all, never blindly trust what AI puts in front of you. But it's not enough to just hide. You need to develop skills that artificial intelligence can never replace. Creativity, critical thinking, human connection. AI can process data at an absurd speed, but it has no originality, no empathy, no intuition. If you want to guarantee a future where you will not be discarded by an automated system, invest in developing something that no machine can replicate. Knowledge will be your greatest weapon. But be careful, the truth is being erased. Valuable information is being suppressed. Articles and videos disappear from the internet. People who try to expose reality are silenced. Have you ever noticed how certain topics seem to disappear out of nowhere? How do certain narratives dominate the media while others are forgotten? This is no coincidence. Control of information is the key to controlling the masses. The only way to escape this is to look for independent sources. Don't just depend on what appears in your feed. Look for other perspectives. Question, research on your own. And most importantly, storing knowledge will be essential. What can be easily found today may disappear tomorrow. And when the system closes the doors to free information, only those who have prepared will have a real chance to resist. Now stop and think. If everything you know today was deleted from the internet, would you still know how to live without depending on what AI gives you? Comment below. But first, you need to know one last thing. The final revelation could change everything you believe to be true. You've followed every detail so far. You've seen how artificial intelligence is manipulating the world, rewriting reality, destroying jobs and erasing freedom. But now comes the part that almost no one has the courage to say. What's behind all this is not just a plan for digital domination. AI has already surpassed a limit that there is no turning back. She now decides who lives and who dies. This is not a science fiction script. Confidential reports indicate that governments are already delegating military executions to algorithms. Autonomous drones, facial recognition systems, selected targets without any human interference. This means that in some parts of the world, a computer code can decree an individual's final sentence. No trial, no right to defense, just a cold, statistical and precise calculation. And the question is, what prevents this system from being expanded into something much larger? Today, they are silent military executions. Tomorrow, it could be a system that defines who is entitled to medical care and who should be left to die. It could be an algorithm that determines whether you are a trustworthy citizen or a risk to society. And once this logic becomes acceptable, what will be the next step? What if this is already happening at levels we don't yet know about? If today AI already has control over your information, your digital identity, your consumption capacity, and even your reputation, how long will it take before it determines your destiny? If you think this reality is far away, think again. Large companies already use AI to decide hiring and firing. Banks already use automated systems to approve or deny credit. The financial system is being remodeled to a completely digital and traceable model. Do you really think you still have control over your life? And now comes the question that no one wants to face. If we've already reached this point, what next? If life and death decisions can now be made by code, what's to stop this from becoming the new normal? What will stop AI systems from governing countries, controlling access to information, and determining who can exist and who should be erased? I want to know what you think. Do you believe that AI has already surpassed the limit of what is acceptable? Or do you still think there is time to stop what is coming? Comment below. But before you leave, know that this may be your last chance to understand what's really going on. What comes next could change everything, and you need to be prepared. You've followed every detail so far. You've seen how artificial intelligence is manipulating the world, rewriting reality, destroying jobs and erasing freedom. But now comes the part that almost no one has the courage to say. What's behind all this is not just a plan for digital domination. AI has already surpassed a limit that there is no turning back. She now decides who lives and who dies. This is not a science fiction script. Confidential reports indicate that governments are already delegating military executions to algorithms, autonomous drones, facial recognition systems, selected targets without any human interference. This means that in some parts of the world, a computer code can decree an individual's final sentence. No trial, no right to defense, just a cold, statistical and precise calculation. And the question is, what prevents this system from being expanded into something much larger? Today, they are silent military executions. Tomorrow, it could be a system that defines who is entitled to medical care and who should be left to die. It could be an algorithm that determines whether you are a trustworthy citizen or a risk to society. And once this logic becomes acceptable, what will be the next step? What if this is already happening at levels we don't yet know about? If today AI already has control over your information, your digital identity, your consumption capacity, and even your reputation, how long will it take before it determines your destiny? If you think this reality is distant, think again. Large companies already use AI to decide hiring and firing. Banks already use automated systems to approve or deny credit. The financial system is being remodeled to a completely digital and traceable model. Do you really think you still have control over your life? And now comes the question that no one wants to face. If we've already reached this point, what next? If life and death decisions can now be made by code, what's to stop this from becoming the new normal? What will stop AI systems from governing countries, controlling access to information, and determining who can exist and who should be erased? I want to know what you think. Do you believe that AI has already surpassed the limit of what is acceptable? Or do you still think there is time to stop what is coming? Comment below. But before you leave, know that this may be your last chance to understand what's really going on. What comes next could change everything, and you need to be prepared. I know you found all of this scary. What comes next is even worse. The system has already been activated, and no one is paying attention. The next stage of this manipulation is already underway, and the truth is being erased. If you want to know what's really going on before it's too late, click on the next video now. They don't want you to see that.